All right. Well, hey, Coaches Up for Change. It's Dee Corchin here for our weekly team time. It is Monday. It is March 21st. So excited to be with you guys. And I know a lot of people are going to be signing on. We've got a great call tonight on a really important topic, the topic of coaching our clients through transition. So who's excited for this? Like, who could use a little help, a little guidance? Yeah, I've been coaching 11 years, but it's something I think we can always continue to get better at, and how to better prepare our clients and make it a smooth process for them. But as everybody's jumping in, I thought, I don't know that we need any additional motivation or inspiration to get started. We've got the Essential Start promotion, you guys. We had our special training on Friday. All of that information is in Coaches Out for Change. But if by any chance you're not aware, we have an amazing opportunity offered to us by Optavia, our company, which is the ability to offer our new clients and our returning clients, anyone who has not ordered in 6 months or more, $90 off their order. So this is an incredible opportunity. I see it. Yeah. Right. To be able to help a lot of people, to be able to move people forward with their health, all those people that have been watching, that have been fence sitters, that have been not sure if it hasn't been their time, now is going to be the time. So I'm just curious. One of the first things we did was we asked you guys on the Friday training to set a goal for yourself of how many people you would like to help with this. So I'm fine if you combine your new clients and your existing client goal, your returning client, but let's start blowing up with the chat with how many you want to help. And if anybody has signed on already today, say my goal is, 5, I already signed up 1, 20. Wow, that's awesome. 1 new client today. Awesome. 14, sign 1 today. Excellent. 5, sign 1 up. Good. 2 new today. Wow, this is exciting, isn't it, you guys? It's such an incredible way to build momentum. And I'm going to tell you, I don't care how long you've been coaching. There's nothing more exhilarating than a new client who says yes to their health, right? Like just that ability, that energy, that first client. So we're going to have the ability to build a lot of momentum with this and help a lot of people. So all the work, all the heavy lifting you've been doing is going to start paying off, and all you continue to do is just going to have a ripple effect for the months to come. So have fun with it. That's always my big thing, is just have fun. And then I wanted to talk also, because they let us know, and I put a post in the coaches group, that convention, which is in July 21st to the 24th, convention, it's probably more now, but as of last Thursday was 79% sold out. 79%. The maximum for live attendance is 13,000 people that we're going to have at this State Farm Arena. It's pretty amazing that in 1 month, like 5 weeks, 79% sold out. So I don't want you guys to miss this. If you have not been to convention yet, it is something to talk to your business coach about. If you've been before and thinking, yeah, I don't know, you want to be there. The one thing that I have learned in all my years, that to never miss an event you qualify for. I've never known anybody who has regretted attending an event. But there's also can be great value, and also maybe even having a spouse attend with you. Even if they're not involved in the business, just being able to have their support, their understanding of what it is you are doing, and actually what's possible for them, what they will learn. And I wanted to have Vicki Feldman come on for a second, because Vicki's been coaching. Vicki, you can tell us how long, and your husband Gary, I think, has attended most events with you. So if you want to just chat about that for a minute.
Yeah, sure. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. So when I became a coach, I went on program and then became a coach February, March, and the first convention was back up in Tennessee. And I remember Dee telling me, oh, you got to come. I'm like, I don't know anybody. I don't know what I'm doing. I had like the only thing for me was like, it was drivable. I didn't have to get on a plane. And I ended up driving up with people I'd never met in my life. I roomed with 3 other people in a room, didn't know who they were. At the time, I remember Dee taking us to dinner. I think there were 5 of us way back then. And I think with that convention, I went by myself. But then I think Gary's gone with me every single year. And I think what's nice is we have treated it as a little bit of a getaway. And my husband has his own business. He actually just recently sold it, but he's in the financial IT world, and he always, and I hear him tell people he always gets something out of our convention. He always gets a nugget on either personal development, dealing with people, on running a business. Like he has parallels. I remember once Dr. A talked from the stage about a book that Gary had just had like all his employees read. So it was just really kind of interesting. I will tell you also that, we all have skill sets, and let's just say computers are not my skill set. And even yesterday, Dee was talking to me about how to pull the report in the back office. And I know Meg had a video, and honestly, I could do it the time it would take for me to do it. My husband like literally just went in, sorted, got all his things. Not only that, he's like, give me your Optavia, and went in and just uploaded it. And then all I had to do was add my information. So it's just nice to have that, because there are things that he can easily get to in my business that are challenging for me, and he can also help keep me on track. So even though he's not really in the business, he will, he supports me. And then the other thing is, he's like right now he's going to play tennis. People know what we do because he lives the habits of health and he talks about it. So, and sometimes he'll say, hey, did you think about, like way back in the day, did you think about Mandy and Matt? So, it gets his wheels turning too. And as we know, stream of consciousness, right? One thing, and then you think about somebody else, you think about somebody else. But anyway, it's great. And I love it when he comes with me, because it's just somebody to reflect with about what happened. So.
Very good. I highly encourage it. Honestly, my very first convention, I almost didn't go to. And my husband was like, this is your business. Like, why wouldn't you go to like what's going to help you learn how to grow your business? And he came with me, and honestly, it was great because for the many years, what he did is he was just like a kind of side marketing guy, and would also just be encouraging around it. So just wanted to throw that out there. Most importantly, you want yourself there, if a spouse, and then if you have coaches, if you have team members, it's not only just about us, right? It's about who you're bringing with you, and that can really be such a way to awaken someone and ourselves to what's next for us. So very good. So 79% sold out, supposed to be sold out by the very first of April. So we don't want to be waiting. We don't want any coach left behind. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Julie Apple. Julie has been coaching for many years and is really, I would say, an expert in this area of helping people, not only people who exercise and all that on plan, but also helping people walk through transition and optimizations successfully. So Julie, I just want to turn it over to you.
All right. Hey, guys. All right, so I'm excited that Michelle and Catherine from my team are also going to join us in a few minutes to share, but we wanted to kick it off. We thought it may be helpful to be a little real, and we would love to hear where you guys are. So Dee's going to put up a poll for us. So if we can take a couple minutes, you guys can answer the question based on yourself. So if you transitioned? And are you, yes, I'm still maintaining, not really, I'm too scared to leave 5 and 1, or you're still working towards your goal? So if you guys can just answer that, would be awesome. This will help us for tonight. It's like watching everybody think. And we did do I got a couple people send in their questions, and if we have time at the end, we'll have a little Q&A. So if you guys have questions while we're going, feel free to put them in the chat or ask. You can use the features and raise your hand and ask at the end.
Okay, that was like a minute for everybody to answer. I think we had 58 out of 62 of us answer it. So some people might be driving or, not able to. So you want to go ahead and pop those, want me to pop the results up?
Yeah,
okay,
you
cool.
can. All right, so 40% said yes and still maintaining. 21% said not really, too scared to leave 5 and 1. And then 40% said still working towards my goal. So this is really helpful to see. I'm excited how many have maintained or transitioned and maintained. Yay. Okay, so what we want to talk about tonight is transition and also into long term. What does that look like? It sounds like a lot of us are at that point, and that's really helpful. But if you're not, or I have a couple brand new coaches on here. So I want to I have a PowerPoint that I'm going to use in just a second. And I'm going to walk you guys through how I talk about transition with my clients for you newer coaches. And even if you've been coaching a while, maybe you'll learn something. So I'm going to walk you through how I teach my clients for the 4 weeks. And then I want to also show you a couple of really cool tools that you can send to your clients as resources. And so let me screen share. Give me 1 second. All right. So Dee, can you just raise your hand? Give me a thumbs up if you see my PowerPoint. Okay, awesome. All right, so what we're going to talk about is, let me move to the next slide, because the resources that I want to take you guys through, I personally have sent an email, but there is a great link on the link tree, and there's a couple of options there. So I'm going to take us there so I can also walk us through the process. Let me take us to that. So if you guys are familiar with the link tree, there's tons of great resources. And I actually discovered this last week. So I thought I would point this out because I had never seen it. At the very bottom, there is a transition guide, and there's also transition and into optimization. And so I'm going to show you guys this tool. You guys can all go here. If you cannot remember how to get to this link tree, just search in our group and it'll be there, the instructions. But I'm going to walk you through, if you guys can see this chart. This is what I teach clients for the transition, the 4 weeks. And so if you guys have clients on 5 and 1, this is the chart you'll use. In just a second, I'll show you guys 4 and 2 transition. The whole goal for the transition, and to make this bigger for people, is to understand going from eating the 5 fuelings to how do I still eat 6 times a day, but fill those spaces with some of my own food. And so we're going to calculate in a minute how to see what their calorie intake needs to be. Some of this, it may feel like it's going over your head, but just hang with me and I will show you guys easy ways to get to everything. So for the first week of transition, you're still going to eat your 5 fuelings and you're going to eat an extra cup of vegetables. That's the only change. So the first week of transition, and this is exactly how I talk about it with clients. First week, keep exactly the same thing, add 1 cup of extra veggies. It can be any kind, Brussels sprouts, carrots, corn, you name it. The second week, you're actually going to drop a fueling and you're going to replace it with 2 pieces of fruit or a cup of berries or a cubed fruit. So the second week, the way I explain it to clients is I want you to drop a fueling and I want you to replace it with that fruit. That makes sense to clients. They're like, okay, take out a fueling, replace it with fruit. The next week, for week 3, you're going to add another 100 calories that's going to come from dairy, but you're still going to keep the 4 fuelings. So we're just gradually increasing calories. And then the 4th week, I'll tell clients you're going to drop 1 more fueling. So you're down to 3 fuelings and you're adding in extra protein in addition if they need it. Or first they're going to add in grains and then protein if they need it. So if you look here, it's tiny on this page, but in your Optavia guide, it'll be a little bigger and it'll tell you what's the different servings for your whole grains. So it says like your high fiber cereal, your whole grain pasta or brown rice. Some of those can be incorporated that 4th week and they're down to 3 fuelings. So our whole goal for clients is to teach them how to go from 5 fuelings week by week, dropping and adding their own food. And then by the end of the 4th week, they're at 3 fuelings and 3 of their own snacks or a lean and green or however they want to divide it. So that's the key process to show clients. It's on page 23 of your Optavia guide. So if you want to reference it, just tell clients, go flip to page 23 in your guide and I'll walk you through that. And I'm going to tell you something that's been really helpful. have your clients look at this early in their journey, and also have them go right down here. If you guys are scrolling with me and can still see my screen, if you keep tracking through here, it tells clients right below where their resources are for the life book and also the Habits of Health book. So what I've started doing more recently, because I've been coaching a while, I've learned clients get really scared when you start talking transition. So I've thought, why don't I just have clients look at this a lot sooner, and then they can get a big picture view and know what's coming, versus like so content in 5 and 1 and then they're scared to do anything different. So if you can direct your clients to the life book and the Habits of Health book early on and give them a big picture, even if you're a brand new coach, teach them this early, because it'll help your clients long term. So these are the 2 resources, the life book and the Habits of Health book. And then I want to also, let me flip back to my PowerPoint because I want to show you guys one thing. Let me see if I can see this. So I have also sent an email for years that lays out some of this for clients. We have a file, I believe, that I can make sure is loaded in our group. So if you guys want a template of an email that you can send to clients, like when I go over this with my clients, I say, when we hang up, I'm going to send you an email that recaps all this, and it will list how to calculate your TE, which I'm going to show you guys in a minute. It will have everything there for you. So I personally have sent an email, but now that I know about this link tree, I may start using this link and send clients, hey, as soon as we hang up, I'm going to make sure you have the link, the direct how to get to the transition part, and that make sure they have that. So I encourage you to have something that you can send to follow up with your clients after you've talked through this. Because if it's like most, they're like, whoo, I don't know what she just talked about. So that's a couple different options. The calculating your TEE, I've always done it on the Optavia website, because that's, to me, easier, is to just quickly go to the website. So if you go to your page, you hover over products and programs, it's going to pop up at the very bottom. You'll see the 3 and 3, and it's a TEE calculator. For the sake of time, do you think we should calculate that on the call? Show everybody? Okay.
I think it'd be a great idea.
All right. I have it pulled up so I can quickly show you. So on our website, right here, where you go to products and programs, you hover over it. Let's see if it comes up. Over here where it says 3 and 3, you click on that, and it's going to bring you to the very bottom. Right here is this awesome TEE calculator. And so you can put in your clients, I use their goal weight. So let's just say 150 pounds for their goal weight. You can put their height. Let's just say they're 5'8". Their age, let's just go with 40. And then their female client. So you can put their goal weight to start with, make sure you know their height and age, and then you just click next. The key in the way I explain it to clients is that you want to do it based on little to no exercise, because you're giving them a baseline number. You don't want to put in that they exercise 5 days a week and they're very active, because it's going to give them a really high calorie intake. And that's not necessarily reflective of their day-to-day if they don't exercise. So I would use sedentary, and then you're going to click calculate. So it's for a person, let's just say that's 5'8", goal is 150, around 16 to 1700 is what their calorie intake should be daily. So you can teach your clients, all right, as we're transitioning, this is what we want to move towards, is this 16 to 1700 calories. In a second, Michelle is going to go over some of the ways that you can see some 100 calories samples and snacks other than fuelings. So that's something else you can teach your clients. But the transition on 5 and 1 will take them to probably about 14 to 1500 calories. Then you can use other 100 calorie snacks to get to the 1600. Or if they're a man and their calorie intake needs to be 2000, you just teach them how to add the healthy exchanges, add more protein to get to that 2000 calories or whatever theirs is. So that's, to me, the fastest way to calculate your TEE. And then over here, I just want to hit on this before Michelle joins us. There are a couple of variations of transition. If you have clients that are doing 4 and 2, like I have a lot of clients that are doing 4 and 2, and we don't necessarily transition them the same It's not 5 and 1. It's not gonna look the same. So nutrition support has given us this transition schedule from 4 and 2. So if you guys can see this, it's very similar. It's actually even a little simpler, I think, from 4 and 2, but you're adding in extra vegetables, or you're changing 2 of your vegetables instead of adding extra veggies. You're changing 2 of them to starchy veggies the first week. The second week, you're adding your fruit. The third week, you're adding dairy. And it's not till the 4th week that you actually take out a fueling. And that's where you're down to 3 fuelings, adding in your grain. So it shows you by the week 4, 1350 to 1500 calories is where you're going to land with the 4 and 2 transition. So hopefully that makes sense to you guys. If y'all have specific questions, there's a couple of trackers. Let me see. I will show you that and probably towards the end. Jen, one of the coaches, has created an awesome tracker from 5 and 1, 4 and 2, a way to check off week by week. She actually loaded those in our coach page. So there's some great trackers. And if we have time, I'll show you where I reference those. The other variation of transition is sometimes you may have clients, I don't know if this is ever yours, but they're doing like 5 and 1-ish, or they're on and off. And then going right back to transition with really strict 5 and 1 may not make total sense. So I actually called nutrition support this afternoon to ask them what they suggest. Their suggestion was, if you have clients that are back and forth, not totally on, to move them to more of a 4 and 2, or you could even go to a 4, 2 and 1, and then take them to 3 and 3. And that timing will look different for every client. Like I've done this with a couple of clients, and they may be on 4 and 2 for several weeks until they get to their goal. And then you'll move them to 3 and 3 so they can maintain. So it's going to look different timing for each client based on their goals. So I would love for Michelle, if you can unmute. Michelle is an awesome walking inspirational example of how to transition and then maintain. She's, gosh, I think maybe, let me stop screen share for a second and bring on Michelle. There she is. So when was it? Six years ago that you actually started the whole process?
What's years? This is like, it was like maybe at least 5, I think, something like that. Like the time just flies. But yeah, it's been a while. So I guess the story, I met Julie when I lived in Charlotte, and my mother gifted me Julie to to lose some weight. And I noticed Julie had another client. I'm not gonna go through the whole thing, but she looked marvelous. So I wondered what extra that client was doing. So of course I said, I want everything. So I, got on the program with Julie. And I think my goal was like 10 pounds. So I did that in about, maybe for me, 3 months, I think, something like that. And I kept it off pretty well until this past year. I think it's about when I started to kind of put weight back on. And it was due to life, a lot of changes, COVID, sickness, stress, just everything. So I put myself back on the 5 and 1, and then also became a coach, and had to go back through the transition process. So it's interesting Julie's talking about this, because I found it a little bit difficult to get off, because as she said, you do get really comfortable. And it just took some trial and error to kind of get off of it. But eventually I did, and, developed the habits that, kept me going without even really thinking about it for all those years. And I have clients who, are on it, and they are sort of wondering, the question I get, like my mom is going to be joining this week, and she's like wondering, well, how do I get off? Do I have to get off, or what's that going to look like? Or she's used to a lot of other diets, and they're like, she's like, when they get off nuts, they go back to everything that they happened, how do we do it? So I talked about transition, but I also talked about more so the focus being not just losing weight, but a holistic approach, which is learning to change your lifestyle, what you do, how you think. So that's the key. And so I explained to her. And then, she's worried about as far as not losing weight or maybe messing up. All these things came into play. So when it came to that part, before I come back to the transition, and also another client worried about stopping and going, I shared a story that I actually got from Dr. A about a 3-lane freeway. How you have the left, which is, the speedy one, the middle one, and then you have the right lane. You're going along, but you're still getting there. So I was explaining, hey, it depends on you and your life and what you want. So on the left lane, you're going to lose weight fast. You're going, you're doing everything to a T. You're speeding by and you're going. The next lane, you're doing most of the things, maybe you started around the holidays and you're not going to miss Christmas, Thanksgiving, Halloween, Labor Day, and every other anything else that may come up. So you're not perfect, but you're still going forward. Then you have the third lane. Who knows what's going on with that one, but you're still, back and forth. You're still there. You're still hanging in. So the moral here is everyone's going to get to the finish line. It's just going to be a different time. So you can't beat yourself up because you didn't do something right, or maybe you're transitioning and it didn't go as well. So you have to kind of go back, but you're still going forward and you have to look back and look at where you came from to where you are and give yourself credit and not be so hard on yourself like most of us are, just by nature and just by the way that, what's pushed is basically, perfection over progress, which really isn't the truth, but that's what we've been learned, that's what we've been learning. So, so some of the information I found, I have the new book from Dr. A. And another thing my mother did ask me was, well, what are those things I can eat, when it comes to snacking and transitioning? She's already there. So she's already saw success, obviously. So in his book, starting on page 277, it goes on to list a lot, and this is the Habits of Health book. It goes on to list a ton of different options that are 100 calories or less, and they're way more than I even imagined that even existed, or great combinations or things I didn't even know could be options. That's why I was like, well, Julie, I limited myself, and I'm like, wow, all this existed. And I do believe it's in the 3 and 3 book. There's a page there that has like healthy exchanges as well too, because some people, want to know, like, if I have a fruit, what does that actually count as? How many can I have? So that's an option as well too, to just kind of get you going and give you some more options so you're not just feeling so limited. And I think seeing that, even though it's a lot, it makes you feel a lot better and a lot more confident about going out there, some things you can fix ahead. So that's kind of like a nice foundation to have there moving forward, because that's kind of where I was just kind of going, another yogurt, another cottage cheese, another grape. It must be more.
Need variety.
Yes, I mean, that's about it. So just, so yes, I mean, it's a matter of just being creative, keeping in touch with your coach, and just understanding that it's a journey, and as long as you're moving forward, you're successful at your journey because you're going. So as long as you're in motion.
That's awesome. Yes, exactly. Thank you, Michelle.
You're welcome.
And I think that is important, having variety to share with your clients. So if you guys don't already have those pages marked in your Habits of Health book, I would mark them. I have mine listed so I can just send it quickly to clients. Here's some great options. And then that healthy exchanges that Michelle mentioned is also referenced in the link tree, in the transition guide that's provided there. You guys go after this, your homework is to go open that up and look. I think another team may have put that together, but it is amazing what is listed there. I think it will help you guys. So that's your homework after this. And then real quick, before we wrap up, I would love for you, Catherine, to share what epiphany kind of helped you with the puzzle that you put together.
Sure. I know we are short on time, but I was one of those that was 5 and 1-ish. I started January 2020, pandemic hit. I kind of got a little off my game. Was 5 and 1-ish, didn't do a formal transition. And then through my coach and Julie, they said, you really need to do this for your own client's sake. So I did it, highly recommend it. I was the whole process confused me so much. I don't know why, but what helped me was to just lay out every day what I could have. I mean, at the beginning, it's not that confusing because you only have like a cup of vegetables and then, your fruit. But as the weeks went on, I don't know why it was confusing to me as to where to put all these things. And so I would just literally in the morning measure out everything I had for the day, look at it and say, okay, I have to eat 6 times. Where's it going to go? So visually that helped me. And I heard something today on a transition video that I watched that really helped me, was that the lady said transition should not be that scary. It's like at the end, you have your own little food pyramid. The way Optavia does it for us, you have your sample meal plans, and it's like personal for you, whether you get 1 starch or 2 starches or 1 fruit or 2 fruits. It's like it's your own little personal food pyramid. And that helped it make sense to me too.
That is helpful. That's exactly what I have told clients. Think about 6 slots in your day. Like, make this really simple. We've had the most convenient 5 fuelings, but now you're just going to start adding some of your own foods to fill those 6 slots. And so I love that. Thank you, Catherine.
Yeah.
So I think it's almost 8 o'clock. I see a bunch of questions and hopefully they've been answered, but if you guys have other questions, feel free to ask them in our coach page and I'll be happy to. I think somebody said, can you load these slides? I definitely will. If you look in the files, you should be able to see the trackers that one of the other coaches created for clients that are moving through 5 and 1 transition and 4 and 2. It's also in that transition guide. There's some trackers in there. So tons of resources, but I'm happy to help too. So y'all are also always welcome to message me.
Thank you, Julie. And thank you, Catherine and Michelle. That was so helpful. And hopefully you see the comments blowing up. And I heard this just the other day. I was talking to a guy, global director, and he is a real fitness guy. And I was like, well, tell me what your maintenance looks like now, and because I'm going to be working with a male athlete. And he said, I'm going to tell you something. He said, transition is more about, he said, I look at it what not to do than what to do. And he said, the biggest thing is most likely as humans and your clients, us, we want to go back to what we used to do. Right. And he said, there's no Cheez-Its in the transition plan. Like there's no tortilla chips, right. Like it's really designed to bring us to eating the healthier foods most of the time. And when we start eating those and getting used to them, the goal is not to be fearful of it, but not to go back to what we used to do, but to move through. And I'm just going back through the Habits of Health book again, and I am blown away by the amount of knowledge in there, the amount of information to really direct us to what foods to, that to eat and not eat. So I think putting this all together and just letting yourself just evolve through the process and the learning process yourself is good. So thank you guys. And we'll keep the conversation going in the group, and just encourage you guys to be on the other calls this week. There's a couple of calls following this one. And then our community call this week is about helping our clients when they're going on spring break and vacation. So a really, really good one to have yourself on and the client. So thank you guys. Thanks for everything you're doing, all the people you're serving, all the people we're going to hit with this Essential Start promotion, and just keep doing your thing and having fun. Thanks, you guys. Bye. Thank you, Julie.